it's time to review the Legacy Evolutions Skyquake. So yeah, let me get the figure out.
So let me be clear.
Wow. Thanks for the help, Obama.
No worries in these reviews.
This is gonna be so stupid. Anyways, appearance-wise, first impressions, he looks very good. Very clean figure. He's very like smooth. A lot of his surfaces are smooth, but it's still very detailed. Let's get a closer look. So yeah, I really like this design.
Yes, I agree with you in these reviews. He also has a very flat chest.
I think it's fine. It suits the aesthetic. It fits. It doesn't stand out too much. I really like the head sculpt. I think the head sculpt looks very good. Very nicely painted. And yeah, speaking of paint, a lot of it is painted. It's very good paint. Like, I really like this like metallic light green color. It's very cool. I've never seen paint like this before. Also has red accents here and here. They painted the back of the wings as well with this really nice metallic green. I think that's very cool. The legs are a bit plain. They are a bit unpainted, but that's okay. I can forgive it because it doesn't detract from the figure too much. The figure still looks really good. He's very, very solid. The plastic on this guy feels very good. It's a lot better than like any other Hasbro plastic. I don't know what they did with this guy, but it's very hefty, very solid, and the plastic feels very thick as well.
His plastic quality is so much better.
I don't know how to describe it. It's like those kids' toys. The plastic feels like it's a toy for a toddler, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like, it's very nice, hefty, thick, satisfying plastic. Yeah, very, very different to handle. Like, it feels very unique. So yeah, I think that's very good. You can see it does have detail picked out in the chest area. I really like this as well. I mean, of course, obviously not as detailed as the Bayverse figures.
Bro, why are you always glazing Bayverse?
But it suits the aesthetic of Prime, and I think that's very cool. Yeah, backpack. He does have quite a big backpack, which is quite disappointing. Which causes him to fall, like, very easily. So yeah, that is unfortunate. It doesn't help that he doesn't have any heels. It's just like high heels, I guess. But yeah, there's not much heel support. That is unfortunate. It is quite a good looking backpack though, despite it being big. Like, that does look nice.
Yes, it is a very aesthetic backpack.
Also, these back bits are the only hollow bits of the figure, but it is very forgivable. This does need to be there for the transformation, and this piece does cover up the gap. So that is all good in my books. This figure is completely like filled in. There is zero gaps. There's zero hollowness. It just adds to the satisfying chunky feel of this figure. In addition to the heft, the plastic quality, and the lack of hollow parts, the ratchet joints also add a lot to the feel of this figure. For example, there's a ratchet joint here where it's only outwards, like this. It does sound very weird though. It's very squeaky, but other than that, the arm can rotate all the way around, with the exception of the backpack. This shoulder thing is on two joints, this joint and this joint. You do get a lot of range in motion, so it is very easy to pose. It does have a butterfly joint, which does not to lock in, but it is still appreciative. Rotation above the bicep. More than 90-degree elbow bend. Wrist swivel, waist swivel. The head is on a ball joint. Go all the way. Can you pop that far? Down, not at all. The legs are on ratchet joints as well. They can kick up this far, can kick back that far, can do the full splits. Rotation above the thigh. Less than 90-degree knee bend, but if you remove this tail flap thing, you can go all the way for a really nice range. And he has full articulation, a pivot, a very small pivot, and toe down only.
So, poseability on this guy is very good.
It's a very nice figure to pose. It's very fun posing this guy. He is very satisfying to play with. But I do think that more foot articulation, like a greater degree in ankle pivot, would help this guy a lot. Also, just a quick note that he is pretty hollow. He has no heart. It's empty inside. That is a bit strange. Ideally, they would have filled it up with some stuff from the backpack, But they did try their best. And yeah, I don't see how they could do that. I guess it just leaves room for the butterfly joints to be completely free. So yeah, that is fine. It is acceptable. Poseability is very good. You can work these shoulder pads pretty easily because they're quite versatile. A very slight issue that I do have is that this waist thing keeps untabbing. Like it untabs way too easily if you see that. Whenever you try to pose him, it just comes apart way too easily. I guess you could say it's like a unintentional ab crunch. They could have made this tab stronger. They could have found more connections because yeah, this is very unstable. He also comes with a weapon, this machine gun. I think that looks very cool. And what's stored in here is this sword that you can unplug and fold out. I think this sword is a bit of a letdown. It is a bit disappointing. It looks very flimsy. Like, yeah, not a fan. It looks way too small. It doesn't really suit this guy. So I don't really use this in posing. Instead, I just use this machine gun, which I think is very cool. This guy can dual wield it. Hold it with two hands. This guy can hold it with two hands. Yeah, what you do is you fold out this tab here, like that. So yeah, I think that's very cool, this weapon. It is one of the more unique weapons, and so I like it a lot. I think it's very cool. There's a lot of opportunity for really cool posing.
In Nate's reviews, it's time for the size comparisons.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Obama. He is a smaller leader, and so here is him with another smaller leader, the knockoff of Shockwave, and as you can see, they are the same height, but this guy is much more thicker. So I do feel like this guy is more worth as a leader in comparison to this guy, because this guy is a bit simple in terms of appearance, and it is not as bulky.
Again, with the Baver's glazing.
Here is Skyquake with a Voyager, and a deluxe class. This figure really is unique. It is like the only figure that I've had that feels this chunky. Like, it is the chunkiest figure that I've ever felt. It's just so like heavy, so full, and like so satisfying, I guess. Like, it's really nice to pose, really nice to play with. All the joints are nice and tight as well. I think it's very fun figure. Aside from the fact that he just falls over, it is very good.
Okay, let's transform this now.
Transformation was very fun. It was very unique. I've never seen a transformation like this before. It's very interesting, a lot of nice steps. I was quite surprised when I was transforming this guy. I really like how the backpack wraps around and goes to the opposite side of the body. Everything is big, there's no small moving parts. It's nice, satisfying, chunky. Other than the fact that I just keep forgetting to rotate the waist for the legs, it is a really good transformation. So after flipping out the landing gears here and here, you have your plane mode. And so jet mode, just like the robot mode and the transformation, is very chunky.
Down. Yeah, that is one fat jet.
It's very satisfying to hold, but I'm not really a fan of this jet design. I feel like if you remove these two, like these two bits, it does look like a standard jet. Yeah, it looks like Starscream, I guess. Yeah, I still think it looks good. It's nice and solid. It holds together very nicely. Again, very satisfying to hold. This guy is just a very satisfying figure. Cockpit does open, so you can see there. It's very detailed. Yeah, very detailed. I don't really know how to pose these. Like, it's either out like this or in, I'm not sure. But I'll keep it in to give it more height. You can see he has 3 thrusters at the back. These two are 5mm ports, so you could put something there if you want to. Like, very nice feel. I just don't like the design. I think it's too wide for me. There are some new details in terms of this, which I think is very cool. I really like this color, like this metallic color that they use. It is a very weird design, but it's detailed very nicely. We'll get into some size comparisons. Here is Skyquake with Shockwave, the Voyager, and the Deluxe. This weapon can also store at the bottom as well, in that port right there. Yeah, it's very nice storage. It doesn't get in the way of anything. Yeah, I think it's very cool, like this type of storage. Before we get into the conclusion, I would like to say that these bits fall off way too easily on my copy. Like, I don't know, I think it's just a recent issue for me. I really haven't had it fall off until today when I was practicing the transformation. Yeah, they just slide on easily, but they fall off pretty easily, which is quite disappointing.
Alright, innate reviews. It's time to do the conclusion.
The robot mode, I think it's the best part of this figure. The plastic quality is excellent, has no hollow bits, it's very hefty, it feels satisfying to hold, poseability is very good, the weapon is very good as well. I really like the robot mode. The transformation is also very satisfying, very unique transformation, very fun, really have no issues there. And the vehicle mode, I'm not really a fan of how wide the jet mode is, but I can see how some people would like it. It's detailed very nicely. I'm just not a fan of the proportions. Overall, this figure is just very satisfying. Like, the transformation is chunky, the robot mode is chunky, and the vehicle mode is chunky. It's just a very chunky figure, I guess. It's not like any other figure that I've ever felt before. It's very unique. So if you're into that, I would say get it, but if you're on the fence, I would say not to get it because I don't feel like it's like leader class price worthy, because leader class is pretty expensive, and this guy I feel like is a bit too simple to be leader class price. If it is on sale, I'd say get it, but if not, you wouldn't regret missing out on it.
Okay guys, as for my opinion, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching the video, and please subscribe to Innate Reviews.